Hey guys, Andrew with 911 South here. Welcome to episode 2 of the 991 build series, and today we're talking about wheels. All right guys, so wheels. Wheels are, in my opinion, the #1 way and easiest way to upgrade the look of your Porsche when you're doing a build, or really any car for that matter. So that's where I decided to start. So on the wheel journey, there were a few things that I needed to think about and kind of figure out before I settled on a set of wheels. The first thing was size. So the car came as a Carrera S with the S wheels. They're in a silver alloy. You know, nice looking wheel. A lot of people choose to keep these wheels on the car. Certainly nothing wrong with that. They're 20-inch, like I said. They come in a 8.5 in the front and 11 in the back. So the first thing I needed to figure out was, am I gonna go to a different diameter from the 20? And am I gonna go with any additional width on the wheels themselves? And then of course, subsequently tires as well. So for diameter, I did do some research and thought about going potentially to a 21-inch wheel. I know that sounds crazy. It sounded crazy to me coming from a 993. I'm like, 21-inch wheel on 911, like, that doesn't even make sense. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't put a 21-inch wheel on an SUV in some cases, but you've got to keep in mind that the newer generation 911s, the 991s, the 992s, they are bigger cars and they come stock with 20s, and a lot of people do put 21s on them. In fact, some of the GT cars come with a 21-inch wheel option, which I think is just in the rear, and the 992s have some 21-inch wheel options as well. So even Porsche is acknowledging the fact that a 21-inch rim does work on these vehicles in some sense. Now, I would say a lot of that is aesthetic, which is a big driver for me. I'm not one of these people who's just like pure performance at any cost. I don't care how the car looks. I want the absolute best blend of how the car looks and how it performs for this build. So I start researching 21s. Ultimately, they look spectacular. So it would be easy to fall in love with the look of a 21-inch wheel by looking at pictures online of cars that are static and parked. But for several reasons, I decided not to go with 21s. The first main reason is this is a performance build. I happen to live, call it 1 to 3 hours from some of the best mountain roads in the country, and I plan to drive this car very aggressively up there. Given that, and also the fact that while I'm not a purist in this sense, I do think there is merit to the argument that you hear a lot, which is Porsche engineers set these vehicles up from a suspension standpoint, engine standpoint, you know, what have you, very specifically. They spent a lot of time and effort understanding what the vehicle should do and how to get the most out of it. That is not to say you cannot get more. I am not one of those people who says, okay, the stock condition is the best condition. Anything beyond that is really taking a risk. But this has PASM, which is Porsche Assisted Suspension Management. I already plan on doing a DSC controller just to change some of the behavior of that management. I'm gonna lower the car from a looks and kind of center of gravity standpoint. So there's already a lot going on in terms of the build direction here. I did not want to add a 21-inch wheel to the equation from a suspension standpoint. I also didn't want it from a weight standpoint. I'm typically not one to be so focused on shedding pounds, but on this build, I really am actually thinking about that because again, I'm looking for sort of a performance flavor to what I'm doing here. So weight was another reason. And then the third reason, which frankly was probably the main one and the most practical, is just tires. There's obviously a much smaller set of tire options for a 21-inch wheel. And as you can imagine, they tend to be quite expensive. So again, I want to run this thing in the mountains. I drive my cars. For those of you who followed my 993, I daily drove that thing for almost a year. And so I'm going to go through tires, and I don't really want to spend the ridiculous amount of money it is for 21-inch tires every time I need a new set. So decided on 20s. Next question was wheel style. I plan on doing color accents on this car for both the calipers and the seat belts. This was probably the #1 most recognized, complimented, kind of positive feedback element of my 993 build. I'll leave a video up top here to that so you can see what I did there and kind of what I'm talking about. But the aero kit I spent all this money on, the roof wheels that I put on that car, I got compliments, don't get me wrong, but everybody was all about the calipers and the belts. And what it really signaled to me is that kind of personal stamp, that hallmark, those fingerprints of kind of the color choice and why I chose it and all that really meant something to everybody. And that's what they liked, was that personal touch. So I'm gonna do that again on this car. That happened to be in a roof green because of the roof wheels, and kind of that was the story behind it. Won't be doing the same color in this car. But stay tuned, I will bring a DIY on how to do your calipers and all the detail around that and reveal the color obviously. But because I'm gonna do painted calipers, I wanted a pretty open wheel. So something that had a lot of visibility through the wheel itself into the rotors and the calipers. Also creates a sportier look in my opinion when you can see a lot of the suspension and the rotor and the caliper. So went with an open concept, which kind of drove me towards this, which I'll get to here in a sec. The third piece of the puzzle, aside from size and look, was color, and this is a big one. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about gold or bronze for this car. I think that color looks spectacular on a white car. There's no question that that is an amazing spec, gold or bronze and white. I also think it looks good on black. It looks good on red. I mean, there are several colors where gold or bronze looks really good. But going back to the calipers, one thing that I was really cognizant of is that I did not want too much going on. So I felt like with the gloss black paint, a gold wheel, a color accented caliper, a color accented belt, you know, that's just too much. I didn't want it to clash and conflict. So I wanted something pretty neutral in terms of palette for the wheels and the car, so that what really stands out is that hallmark signature color that I chose for the calipers and the belts, kind of make it unique. So I decided on a darker gray gunmetal color, which is obviously what you see here. This color is called satin titanium. And so the finish was the other piece of the puzzle. Did I want to go satin? Did I want to go polished? Did I want to go brushed? What was the look I was going for? Did a lot of research here as well. And ultimately decided that satin to me looks really cool. I've never owned satin wheels, but I've always been a big fan. Just how soft they look, how refined they look, the contrast between the satin finish and the polished finish of the car, I think that's super sharp. And so satin titanium is the color. It's a gunmetal satin, call it dark gray. I think it's gonna look really good with the black car. So I'm super excited about that. So once I have this direction of, okay, color, style, size, I need to go shopping. So I started in the journey trying to understand different types of wheels. So you have your standard wheels, which I think most people are pretty accustomed to. Then there's a category of wheels that go by free flow, flow forged, you know, there's a lot of different names out there, but essentially they're kind of a hybrid between forged wheels and kind of standard wheels. And those wheels are where I started. Decided ultimately that I really wanted to kind of get into a set of forged wheels for two reasons. One, they tend to be very light, and two, they're incredibly strong. And so again, going back to the performance and kind of driving aspect, I've never owned a set of forged wheels, and that was kind of a goal of mine, to get a fully forged set of wheels for this particular build. The challenge is that when I went to go do that research, I had a bit of sticker shock. Started with companies like Boston. These are $10,000 sets of wheels, $2,500 a piece, maybe $2,000 if you buy them new. Alternatively, if you look for them used on Renlist, eBay, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, you can find them for maybe $5,000 to $6,000 a set to $7,000 or $8,000 a set. Still quite expensive, and I'm all about ROI and kind of stretching the dollar, I guess. I don't know if that's the right term, but when I do a build, I sort of have an overall budget that I want to stay within, and I try to design within that budget and select components that have the best bang for the buck. So I didn't think spending 10 grand or a huge component of the overall budget on a set of wheels made a lot of sense. And so what I decided to do was press pause and kind of regroup. I was on the 991 Facebook group, and a gentleman on there posted about Titan 7 wheels. And so I was intrigued, I liked the look. He happened to get them to custom finish them for a particular color he was looking for to go with his build. But he was all about it, was saying great things. Started doing my research, realized they're a smaller company here in California, so made in the US. They are fully forged wheels. They come in, 3 or 4 styles and just a few finishes. But two main components that, obviously excited me. One was the offsets are custom for cars. So one of the other benefits of doing a Boston or any of these companies is you typically get an offset that you can pick for your car so that you don't have to run spacers and the wheels flush. So that's a bonus of kind of this price point or this category of wheels. I happen to have 5mm spacers on the car. They're factory spacers. They came as a factory option. I'm actually still gonna run those. I like a tiny bit of poke. I like a pretty aggressive stance on my builds, but you wouldn't have to do that. These wheels are made just for 991. The offsets are custom. They sit exactly flush with the fenders if you run them without spacers. So that's one main bonus, is that they're purpose built for 991, 911. The other is price. These are about $3,500 shipped. And so again, going back to the other examples, call it 6,000 or 7,000 for used wheels that have a nick or scratch or who knows what else. 10 grand or a bit or more for new wheels, $3,500 for fully forged wheels. This happened to be in a perfect finish for my build, so keep that in mind. That's I'm lucky in that sense. But you could also buy these for $3,500 and have them refinished locally and still be in at a much lower price point than you would on some of the other brands. So I thought they were a really good bet, but wanted to do my research, started watching videos, kind of going to their website, looking at construction, how they're built. Ultimately, I came across a video from Matt over at Obsessed Garage. If you watch my channel, I trust his opinion. He actually put a set of Titan 7 wheels on his BMW M3 and did a video about them and kind of walked through everything. And so that gave me the confidence to say, okay, I'm gonna go and order a set of these, get them in, see how I like them. So this is the wheel. I would say overall impressions from just an aesthetic and like build and finish quality standpoint is 8 or 9 out of 10. I mean, this is a super nice wheel. When you factor in the price, call it a 9 or 10 out of 10. I mean, I don't know that there are wheels that are finished this well, that appear to be built this well, that look this good for this price point and a fully forged option that also have a component of a USA-based customer service team and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they're out there, but I would strongly encourage you if that you are in the market for forged wheels, but you're having a lot of heartburn over that price point, go check out Titan 7. I paid retail for these. This is not a paid promotion. This is just truly my opinion. I think these are a really good bet. Obviously, I don't have them on the car. This week, we're gonna mount and balance tires, put these on the car, do an alignment, all kinds of stuff. I'll take you along for that. I am gonna do an episode on part 2 of the wheels, basically to get them on the car and show you before and after in the process and all that kind of stuff. But short of having them on the car and being able to drive with them and understand the difference in weight and performance and rigidity and all that, just from a looks perspective and process perspective of ordering them and getting them delivered, super impressed. So definitely check them out. One thing you need to keep in mind is that the center cap is separate. And so those run $25 a piece, $100 for a set. Sounds a little pricey maybe. Keep in mind they're metal and they're custom painted. So they come in the satin titanium or bronze or alloy or whatever color you ordered. It'll be a custom painted center cap. So obviously that's something you want. You do need to order them. You cannot swap out your Porsche center caps. Porsche center caps are slightly larger than the Titan 7s. So you need to order center caps. And then you can run those. They have a little 7 logo if you want to just keep an aftermarket look. Or what I did is I went online, I found a source to get some smaller Porsche crests that I'll apply over the top of these and give it that OEM Plus look, which I know if you watch my other build, you guys know that's what I'm all about is, something that's like, was that a factory option, not a factory option, or those Porsche wheels or the aftermarket? I love that component of it. That drives a lot of dialogue in my opinion. When I'm out meeting people, they're looking at the build, they're watching these videos, you guys are making comments. That's the part I love the most, is getting in that dialogue of, oh no, they're actually from Titan 7, and let me send you the link, and let me know if you have any questions, or hey, I'm 10,000 miles into them, let me tell you my thoughts. I mean, to me, that's what it's about. That's what this channel's about. It's trying to bring you guys content and kind of my experience, and then creating an excuse for us to get into a dialogue and meet new people and build community. So I'm gonna run them with the Porsche crests, give it that OEM Plus look. Let's take you through all that. But hopefully this video was helpful if you are thinking about upgrading your wheels on your 911, if you are on the search for forged wheels and you don't want to spend $10,000 for the set, if you are specifically looking for Titan 7, these TS5 wheels and want to know exactly what they look like on a video, or anything in between. So I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, if you're enjoying this series, if you like build series, community, videos of events and things like that, all that, please do subscribe to the channel. It's literally right below you. All you have to do is click a button. Would really appreciate that as I try to build more content and bring the rest of this series to the channel. Episode 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, you will get notifications. That way you know they're out. You can pop on, you can take a look at them, you can hit watch later and come back to them. But really appreciate if you would subscribe, obviously like this video, and then if you want more content as well from a photo and video standpoint, go check out my Instagram. It's at 911South. Over there you're gonna see all kinds of pictures that I've taken of other people's rides, of my 993, of events that we've been to, and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching. Episode 3 coming your way, and we'll keep the build going.